In a sleepy coastal town, there's a bus that arrives at exactly 12:13 a.m. every night. Locals say it only stops for those who are completely alone. It never stops to let them off. And by morning, only their belongings return. The old bus stop was a weathered wooden thing, the kind that hadn't seen a fresh coat of paint in decades. It stood at the edge of town, right where the last house ended and the gnarled branches of the Silent Sisters Cove began. The silence of the cove was only ever broken by the rhythmic crash of the waves and the mournful cry of the gulls. Most nights, the bus would rattle through town, its headlights carving temporary grins into the darkness, only to disappear around the final bend without a sound. But every night at precisely 12:13 a.m. it would come back, making its way slowly up the hill towards the cove. For the people of the town, the bus was a mystery, an enigma that had been the source of hushed conversations and nervous laughter for generations. There were theories, of course. Old Man Hemlock swore it was a government vehicle, part of some nefarious plot that none of them were aware of. Mrs. Willoughby believed it was a bus to the afterlife, ferrying the lonely and forgotten to their final destination. But it was the young people, wide-eyed and desperate for a night of adventure, who were drawn to the bus stop. They would stand there at the stroke of midnight, hoping to be the ones chosen. For the bus didn't just pick people up, it took them somewhere. And so it was with Elias, a young man with a heart full of dreams and a head full of wild stories. He too had been captivated by the bus and its nightly ritual. And tonight was no different. He stood at the bus stop, his eyes fixed on the dark road leading out of town, waiting for the bus to arrive. When it did, he stepped onto it without hesitation. The interior was dimly lit, the seats were worn, but there was a strange comfort in the smell of old fabric and the gentle rocking of the bus as it moved. He rode in silence, watching the darkness outside the window turn into a soft gray as the sky began to lighten. As the bus approached the cove, he felt a pang of sadness, knowing he wouldn't be able to stay on the bus forever. But as the first rays of sunlight peeked over the horizon, he felt something else, a sense of peace. He had taken a journey not just through the night, but through his own thoughts and feelings. He realized that sometimes the most meaningful journeys are the ones that take us to places we've never been and make us face things we'd rather avoid. When the bus finally reached the end of the line, he stepped off, feeling like a different person than when he had boarded. As the bus rumbled away, he turned to go home, knowing that he wasn't alone. He had faced the darkness and the silence and emerged with a newfound sense of self. Every morning after the bus had passed, the townspeople would come to the cove to see what had been left behind. Sometimes it was a hat or a coat, other times a book or a photograph. But whatever it was, they took it back to town, not because they needed these things, but because they didn't want anyone to be forgotten. In a world that often felt cold and uncaring, the bus stop was a reminder that even in the darkest of nights, there was always hope for a brighter morning.